Alright everybody, welcome back to the Arena Football Nation channel. And in today's video we got a recap of week 3 of Arena Football 1. With 3 games on the docket ranging from Friday March 28th through Sunday March 30th. Had some pretty good interesting matchups here, as you had a rematch between the Liberty traveling to the Tritons again in a rematch. Then you had a matchup between the Albany Fibers traveling to the Nashville Cats. Pretty exciting matchup there. And then the Oregon Lightning traveling to Southwest Kansas Storm. So let's get right into it. In game 1, we had the Tritons taking on the Liberty in a rematch. And the Tritons walked away from this one victorious again, 51-37. Like I said, this is the second meeting between the Tritons and the Liberty at American Bank Center. But once again, it came out in favor of the Tritons. Final score is 51-37, with the Tritons showing once again why they're the better team, fending off a much more potent offensive production team in the Liberty. This is a high scoring affair with a lot of tempers going on throughout. Obviously, the Liberty are looking to bounce back from that loss and show they are a much better team than they showed that last game. A lot of energy in the first half between the Liberty and the Tritons in this game. You had forced fumbles on the Tritons' first drive that held them to one score for a good amount of time. That clean play and capitalization followed on opponents' penalties helped them stay in control for most of the game. And that control would not falter for the first 29 minutes of the half. But the last drive of the half, with only 1 minute to go, the Tritons marched down the field to claim a touchdown and 2-point conversion, shifting the momentum before halftime. So yeah, like I said, it was a pretty close game. Salina Liberty looked a lot better than last time they played this game against the Tritons. But tale of two halves, the second half, after tying the game 24-24, after coming out of the locker room, Salina had a strike back and quickly retook the lead with a handoff to Tracy Brooks. Then on the Tritons' next drive, Salina's Thompson Kyle Chandler made a business decision, opting for pass interference instead of giving up a likely touchdown. That set up Fred Payton Jr. in the red zone, who delivered to Darius Prince for 6. That Prince touchdown marks the point when the Tritons' execution would continue and the Liberty would falter. So yeah, Liberty kind of shot themselves in the foot in this game. A lot of penalties ended up throttling their effectiveness. Most penalties came in the second half when the Tritons kicked it up a notch offensively. Although they did not commit nearly as many penalties as the Tritons, they did so at some pretty inopportune moments. 2 pass interference calls directly led to those touchdowns, and issues with the high motion man led to longer tries for first down. Biggest takeaways from this game, you had Salina has to make some more offensive improvements. While they did do better than the last game, the biggest thing has to be the line, the offensive and defensive line. You had the Tritons able to still bring down Kilgo 6 times in this game, which is a big talking point in their first matchup. Tritons had a pretty onslaughtish defense at times, really providing a lot of pressure against the Liberty offense. And until they make those adjustments, you can't really have good quarterback play because you can't support the pocket. So, biggest adjustment there will be for the offense. And then the Tritons need to clean up the penalties. They had 14 on the day in this game. They are good enough to play against teams that have allowed the issues to pertain. But once they go off against the bigger, better teams in this league, it's going to be a big issue they're going to need to clean up. These mistakes, they will hold a big, impact when it comes to playing those teams, such as the Firebirds or even the, Outlaws. So, got to clean up the penalties. Other than that, they looked pretty good overall. Tritons, for key players for them, they were able to carry up that impactful defense, like I said, that we saw in the season opener. You had a ton of people on the D-line, 6 total sacks from Solo Tusa, Reggie Howard, Chase Alisukas, I apologize if I did that wrong, Daniel Bice, and Torrance Williams. So yeah, really big showing by the defense once again in this game. Offensively, you had Fred Payton Jr. doing a great job. He showed a lot of composure, and when the pressure was brought from Salina, he did a great job still proceeding to do things he needed to do offensively, leading that team You got an impressive improvement from last game and decision making. 191 yards on a 53% completion with 5 passing touchdowns in this game. So pretty impressive there. He also punched in 2 rushing touchdowns on the field as well. So key plays for Salina. You had Ed Smith. He led the way for Salina's offensive production. He broke out for 117 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was a pretty reliant target for Javan Kilgo. Once again, don't know if I apologize if I did that wrong. Consistently finding open space for easy completions. On defense, it was all Travis Taylor. He was a great force to that offense On defense, it was all Travis Taylor. He did a great job and was a big force for that defense with 5 solo tackles and a sack. So, great matchup once again, like I said. Salina Liberty doing a lot better than last time. Couldn't finish. He had a great solid first half, but couldn't finish the whole game. Tritons once again looking like a good team going forward this season. Alright, let's jump into the next game. And the second game of the docket, we had the Firebirds traveling to the Cats. So, a lot of questions about the Cats. Looking to see if they can bounce back from the first game of the season. And the Firebirds looking like one of the top teams in the league. So, this should be an interesting matchup. And once again, we had a great game on our hands with the Firebirds just edging the East Division rival at this point, the Cats, in a 42-34 final score. So, like I said, a great game. Had some really big action there in that first half. You had Nashville causing a forced fumble on that opening kickoff, which really set the tone and set them in some really good field position. You had wide receiver Robert Jones Jr. hauling in a 4-yard touchdown pass from quarterback Rakeem Cato. Rakeem Cato did a great job this game, stepping in as a quarterback for the team. And like I said, it was a pretty solid first half once again in this one. First quarter especially. Cats looking really good and took a slim 16-14 lead. But the second half and what followed was the Firebirds just stepped it up a notch and showed why they're one of the more premier teams in the league. They ended up going to the locker room leading 30-27. Sam Casanova did a great job, being the quarterback for the Firebirds. He connected on 3 passing touchdowns in the first half. Though Nashville did make it tough and had a pretty good defensive pressure providing all game. Biggest standouts for the Albany Firebirds. Once again, it was Sam Casanova, proving why he's one of the premier quarterbacks in the league and all of arena football, having 4 passing touchdown passes, bringing his total to 11 on the year. He had another 35 yards on the ground, and then the Firebirds duo of Dwayne Brown and Isaiah Scott combined for 8 receptions for 100 yards and 3 scores. Defensively, defensive tackles Ezekiel Rose and Harold Love controlled the line of scrimmage for Albany. A key interception by Marcus Smith turned the tides in favor of the Firebirds. Casanova would be named the Real American Beer MVP of the game following his performance. Obviously, Nashville, it looks like they might have found their QB in Rakeem Cato. He did a great job stepping in and being a quarterback for the team, like I said. He was stable and poised all game. Though you had the loss for the Nashville, Cato commanded the offense for Coach Arbet and company. Cato finished 18-29 for 213 yards and 3 touchdowns. Receiver Robert Jones Jr. emerged as his favorite target and should be looked at as a wide receiver 1 from here on out. You got Jones Jr. hauling in 8 receptions for 99 yards and 4 total touchdowns. Defensive back duo of Amos Coleman III and Tyvon Smith controlled the back end of the defense for Nashville. Coleman III ended with 7 tackles, and Smith had 6 of his own. The defensive line for Nashville continues to look stellar and will be a strong point for the Cats this year. So yeah, you had a pretty much thrown together last minute, it felt like, for the Nashville Cats going into this season. Coach Arbet, he stepped in and he's already made some really solid improvements in coaching decisions. Once again, one of the best to do it, so no surprise there. But what's impressive is how he did it in such a short amount of time. And Cato stepping in, he did a really good job as well. He looks like he's going to be able to run this offense and have the vision that Coach Arbet wants done, provided. But what a tough test, going against the Firebirds. They're obviously one of the top 2 teams in the league at this point. So they're just proving, why they are where they are. And I think Nashville has a chance with Coach Arbet really making his adjustments and changes that he wants. There's a good chance that they could be one of the teams that put up a fight in one of those top spots going forward. One of the other big things I had to say was the quality of stream was fantastic. Obviously, it's been good all season for AF1, and you gotta love hearing the play call being done by Eli Gold. The man is a absolute treasure, and he's always a pleasure to listen to when you watch arena and indoor football games. So always a joy to listen to him talk, and he just makes the broadcast and the game itself just 10 times better. So it's awesome to see that the Nashville Cats still have him on the call. So overall, quality was good, and I think the fans showed out for Nashville pretty well. So excited for that team. I was a little worried there in the offseason for them to potentially come back or not. It was not a lot of noise being made, on social media or otherwise, but looks like they're still trucking along and looking really solid. So excited to see what Nashville has going forward. Obviously, the Firebirds, one of the top teams in the league, so no surprise there. They take care of business and are improving every game. So, great game there. Let's move on to the next one. The final one we have is the Lightning going to take on the Southwest Kansas Storm. One of the teams starting off hot this season was the Southwest Kansas Storm, and Oregon had a slow start, so looking to see how they make their adjustments and come into this game. Both looking to make a big, get a good big win here. But it was all Southwest Kansas Storm in the early going after Lightning struck on the first drive of the game on the 4th down bomb by Dalton Cole to Maurice Ashley. That put the Lightning up 7-0. The Storm poured it on. First, it was Jalen Morton to Demaris Washington on a 4th down touchdown bomb of their own. And by the middle of the second quarter, it was 33-7. Storm leading after Logan Wright fumbled for a touchdown run. This game really broke open. It looked like it was going to be all Storm. Oregon looked really slow out the gate in the start. But the Storm eventually, their offense just kind of sputtered. And the Lightning went on a 22-point tear that all started with an electric kick return for a touchdown by Maurice Ashley. And it was topped off by another Dalton Cole rushing touchdown. And that put the score at 33-29. And it kind of stayed there for a while, but pretty impressive to see the fight in the Oregon Lightning and them not, just laying down and giving up. So there was a lot of fight back. And the biggest talking point about this game was the ending. What a crazy, fantastic ending. And you had the Oregon Lightning throw a Hail Mary touchdown pass as time expires to knock off the Southwest Kansas Storm. Absolute insanity with a final score of 41-40. And why it was such a crazy talking point is the Southwest Kansas Storm had the game in the bag. And just some coaching blunder decisions led to the Oregon Lightning having an opportunity to walk it off. And that's exactly what they did on that pass. And it was a fantastic play. Really, really big for the Oregon Lightning, looking to have a huge win, especially in this manner. And this is why you love arena and indoor football. Plays like this. This is why you should never leave your seat until the game is officially over, right? Because stuff like this can happen at any moment. So it was pretty exciting and awesome to see that. But, yeah, it was just a pretty crazy moment. A lot of fun to watch. And, yeah, this is why you love arena and indoor football. Charles Hall was a pretty standout receiver in this game. He filled the role in that was needed on Sunday night. He caught the ball 4 times in the game and made the most of it, racking up 108 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also stepped into the kick return role, returning his 3 attempts for 42 yards. Standout for the Lightning has to be Dalton Cole at quarterback. Really awesome in performance by him. He's been doing a great job. He had his up and downs, but he overall stayed poised in this game, even with the pressure, leading the comeback even. And obviously on the final play of the game, where he remained poised and delivered the perfect pass for the game winner, pushing the Oregon Lightning over the top. Cole ended the day throwing 20 for 37 for 258 yards and 3 touchdown passes. All this was done while throwing just 1 interception. And then he also added on top of that 11 rush attempts for 44 yards and 2 more touchdowns on the ground. So great offensive performance by Dalton Cole in this game. So that will do it for the 3 games on the docket. Take a look at the standings in this after these 3 games. So things are starting to shape up, and we'll take a look at week 4 as you have the Billings Outlaws traveling to take on the Washington Wolfpack, and then the Oregon Lightning are traveling to take on the Nashville Cats. And then the Albany Firebirds going to take on the Salina Liberty. Alright, everybody, that will do it for week 3 of Arena Football 1 action. If you enjoy this kind of content, please like the video and subscribe if you haven't already, as we look to continue to cover all Arena and Indoor Football action for the 2025 season. Alright, everybody, I appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.